I'm very boring actually. I'm wonderfully boring and I love my life like that. I'm actually quite peaceful. I love to read. I love to crochet. I love to knit. I love to spend time with myself. I love to work out. So yeah, when I say this, it actually fills up my day. I like to spend time with my kids. My kids are super cool and I like them. I really, really enjoy them. They're funny, they're sarcastic, they're snarky. Yeah, they make me laugh. They keep me entertained. And so, yeah, I have a really, really good life that I have worked very hard to build.
I had a very interesting conversation with your husband about your kids.
Yeah?
Yeah.
He never said these things. I bet you.
He said another version of this. He said another version of
he must
this.
have had an adult version of this.
Y'all are so different. Like it makes me think a lot about things like long-term relationships and marriage when I see you. And now that I've seen like you in person, y'all are really different people even to speak to.
We are.
Do you feel that?
Yes, of course. And I think we wouldn't be half as interesting to each other if we were too much alike. I mean, what do you get to say after like 20 years to each other if you're going to be so much? I think like you're right. We'll be communicating in sign language by the end of it. बोलने की ज़रूरत ही नहीं पड़ती उसके बाद.
But both of you are like very analytical. Like that I can tell. Like very deep thinking as well.
Yeah. And I think I wouldn't know about deep thinking, but yes, we do think about things other than just what we see and what is practical enough.
What does that mean?
What does that mean?
What do you mean कि
आपने बोला था हिंदी में इंग्लिश में बात करनी है बता रहा कि ये तो समझाना भी पड़ेगा आपको अच्छा ठीक है समझा लेती हूँ
What do you mean like what we see and what is
as in just like sometimes when you see a situation and you're looking at it and you're like talking obviously I mean just take your house for instance I wouldn't see I'd be like okay this is a very well decorated house thank you so much for that I'm assuming you're saying that to me this is a podcast right सुनाई दे रहा है right हाँ ठीक है So I'm saying, okay, it's a very well decorated house, but I also feel that because you're a YouTuber, you have paid attention to certain parts of your house to make it more Instagrammable, to make it more cinematically appealing. So it's done very well, I have to say that. It's really beautifully done and it's very, very pretty.
Thank you.
Pretty is maybe not the right word for it, but yeah, it's pretty.
It's aesthetic.
It's
Do you meditate at all?
I do.
Okay.
I do. I make it a point to meditate at least.
We meditate a lot, like here in this room.
Okay.
Which is why we send people out and all that. Like this is the art space, and I feel if you meditate in a particular space a lot, changes the energy of the room as well.
I feel meditation is about you. I feel it's not about where you are. I can meditate in a car. I'm quite okay with that. I meditate while I'm sleeping also sometimes if I wake up in the morning. Sometimes it depends on where it doesn't depend on where I am so much as where I am in my head.
So, okay.
That's me.
How long have you been meditating?
You know, like somebody gave me a very interesting thing about meditation. Told me a very interesting thing. Like it's like, you know, when you read about meditation, सब लोग बोलते हैं कि मेडिटेशन ऐसा होता है ध्यान जिसे कहते हैं ध्यान ये होता है ध्यान वो होता है और आपको एक जगह में बैठ के आपको ध्यान करना पड़ता है व्हाट इज ध्यान you have to take out everything you have to release all your thoughts so there are lots of definitions about meditation but for me I think the best definition that I have found of meditation is to be very very present in the moment so and this is a book. This is a line that I read in a book to say that everything in your life should be a meditation. Whether you are whatever you are doing, whether you're exercising, whether you're eating food, whether you're sitting and watching a film, if you are completely and supremely present in that moment, that is a meditation. So don't think that you have to like find a space and sit in that space. I mean, no offense, not in a bad way, meant in that way. But that for me is meditation. So when I work out for an hour and I'm listening to my music and it's just me in the gym with myself and I'm working out, that for me is meditation.
I hear you. Yeah. And I agree 90%. I'll tell you what I figured just through the show. Okay. So we have a lot of monks who come on the show, and I always ask them about these same questions because this is exactly what I believe. Mindfulness, like when you're mindful in a conversation or working out. That is meditation, and it is meditative. Okay, and then there's a process of dhyan, which is like a whole.
Yes,
it's a mental exercise. It's basically everyone overthinks. Everyone has all sorts of thoughts. When you sit in one place, even these monks, they have thoughts that run. When you pull your thoughts back to the point of focus of the meditation, that's dhyan, and that's the actual meditation.
Right.
So, have you heard of someone called B.K. Shivani? She's a really good communicator. She's a spiritually incredible communicator, and we had her on the show. And I asked her about this same topic in terms of, is this meditation, is that meditation, what's meditation? She said that this is dhyan, but if you live your life meditatively, like if you're in the moment, if you're completely present in whatever you do, you'll notice that your dhyan actually gets much deeper and much easier. It gets much more lubricated, that process. And I've felt that like lately. And that's what I'm trying to do in every moment. Like when I'm eating, I'm just trying to eat. When I'm watching YouTube, I'm just trying to watch YouTube.
Yeah.
When I'm speaking to Kajol, I'm just trying to speak to Kajol. Not thinking about
That's
other
not
stuff.
a dhyan. That's not difficult to do, is it?
No,
Is it difficult?
no, you're very easy to talk to. I love your husband, fan of your husband, but he wasn't easy to podcast with. You're too easy to podcast with.
Like I said, talking is not a problem with me.
Mm.
आवाज का प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, स्पीकर का प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, बिल्कुल नहीं है. कहीं पे भी स्पीकर लगा दो. आपको मेरे नजदीक तो डेफिनेटली मत लगाना.
No, I feel you have a lot to say as well. That's the issue with podcasting. Lots of times we have some people who don't have much to say, but I feel you have like a lot of thoughts about a lot. Which is cool.
Which is cool. I do spend a lot of time thinking about a lot of things. So yeah.
Does the world of films kind of force you to become really street smart? Because that's been my reading of it lately. Because so many people, I mean, there's so many variables, and throughout that journey, once you actually start getting fame into your life, maybe so many people come to grab that fame away from you.
I don't know whether it's street smart or not. I feel, in fact, today's day and time is very different from if you had to get street smart at one point. You know, like when I started, I feel you had to get a certain amount of street smarts there.
Why?
And there was no time or space for naivete, I would say, to be naive, because there was nobody in between you and the 300 people that you worked with. There was no manager. There was no vanity van. There was no social media. There were no how do I put this? There are so many intermediaries now that by the time you get to the real mudda of it, you are already sorted. You already have, like, you have a manager, you have a vanity van, you have your clear set boundaries. There were no boundaries at that time.
When?
So whoever you had to meet, if you had to do a film, if you had to accept a film, if you had to hear a script, sorry, I'm interrupting you right now, but I have to explain it like you said.
When and why? When and why did this happen?
When and why? It's just the way the world worked at that time, really. If you wanted to do a film, you had to go out and meet these people. It could not be a phone conversation. It was not that you met somebody, can I get your manager? It was not, can I get your manager's number? It was more like, oh, I met your mother there. And, I met your mother, and my mother is telling me about, oh, you're going to meet my friend over there. So you better be on your best behavior. So it was a different world. It was a different time. And even if I was not part of the film industry in that sense, if I was not, even if it was not my mother, it was still about meeting people at events, or if I met somebody there, or if I was doing well, and I met somebody at this thing, मैं आपको मिलने आ रहा हूँ, मेरे पास बहुत अच्छी स्क्रिप्ट है, आप बस सुन लो, अच्छा ठीक है मैं सुन लेती हूँ, आप आ जाइए. It was that. It was a direct access. So you had to have your, you had to be street smart at that time. I wouldn't say street smart, but you had to know what to say, when to say, how to read the room, how to work it to your favor. Now I feel it's like you have, आपके पास accountant भी है, manager भी है, PR person भी है, director है, associate director है, ये है, वो है, इतने सारे I won't say तामझाम, but अभी इतने सारे लोग बीच में आ गए हैं कि आपको खुद इतना सोचने की ज़रूरत भी नहीं है, और आपको जो है इतने सारे choices हैं आपके पास. So there are so many people willing to say that, हाँ ठीक है, this is the right way to go about it, or this is the right way, or this is how everybody is doing it, why don't you try it like this? So you don't really have that much. Of course, the reason for individuality dying out, I think, is half the reason, because we have so many people saying the same thing also, to go down the same route, and to have your hair done a certain way, to have the same lipstick color, and to do the same kind of films, etc.
Do you think that's why people say that the age of superstars is now behind us?
I think it has to do with social media. And like you said, it comes with its pros and cons. today, if we have the freedom to be whoever we want to be, we have the price for that is your stardom and your mystery. Earlier, if you wanted to watch a movie, you had to go to the theatre to watch a film, or you had to wait for it to come on TV या videotape आती थी उसकी. So slowly but surely now it's a question of picking up the phone that's right next to you. You don't even have to stretch your hand. Phone यहीं पे है. आपको मतलब रिमोट की भी ज़रूरत नहीं है, ढूंढने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, देखने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. तो जो है एफर्ट जो है बहुत कम हो गया है किसी को ढूंढने के लिए, किसी को देखने के लिए. तो वो एफर्ट अगर आप नहीं कर रहे हो तो मतलब इतनी आसानियत हो गई है आपको देखने के लिए, तो देन